Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. For those of you who are new here, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be doing a master collage board in a classic happy planner, and then I'm also going to show you what I plan to do with them. And if that is of interest to you, please stay tuned. Okay, so for those of you who have been on my channel for a while, this may look familiar to you. This is something that I had started back in early part of 2020, and it was just a daily journal. I've since moved that into something else, but this is where I was doing all of this, and this actually went all the way through May. And it's actually quite nice to look at it, but that's not why we're here. I was watching some videos on YouTube, and I had seen quite a few people from the junk journal community doing master collage boards and then using those for other things. And then I can't remember who it was, but there was someone who had put it in an old book, and I was thinking, well, I don't really have an old book, because it was an old book of her kids, old workbook. And I thought, well, you know what, it would be good to do master collage boards on happy planner paper, because it's twofold. One, the paper is really good. I did watercolor this, that's why there's some pigment to the paper, plus, and this is one I just did just a few minutes ago, if you do use this for like a tag or a journaling card, it's already got the dot grid on the back, and you can do it on your paper, keep it in your Happy Notes book, and then cut out either pieces that you need or take out the whole thing, but at least you get to store it in an easy place that's easy to go in and out, especially if you're only like looking to do a little tag, then you could just leave the rest of it in it. So we're going to make one today, and then at the end of the video we're going to actually use that one I just showed you. Again, I did do a watercolor wash in that. If you're interested, I can find the video that it's in, although if there's enough interest, I can just do another one. It's really quick, and it's actually very simple. But I've got this. It doesn't matter how happy planner paper goes. Actually, I like that one on the back because it has a little bit more interest. And then all you're going to need is some glue and some paper scraps. And so I've got some here, and because I'm using happy planner paper, I just want to make sure I avoid the umbrellas so that I can put it back into the book, but otherwise there really are no rules. And so I've got a bunch of things here, and if you do watch a ton of happy planner or junk journal videos like I do, there's a few different methods on how you could do this. I'm going to be using my art glitter glue. I've had this for a while, and it's just because, one, the tip is really fine, it dries really quickly, but more importantly, I had it on hand. So like I was saying, some people who are doing master collage boards will play around first, see how they like things, and then they'll take a picture and they'll put it down so they can recreate it to the style that they originally liked it under. Some people will do that, and then once it's all glued down, they will scan the image and then use the scanned image. One, it's not so thick, and two, they get to keep their original piece of art. I'm not going to do either of that. I'm not going to piece it out first and then put it down and take it. Yeah, no, I'm not interested in that at all. So I'm just going to take some things that I have, and this one, just for brevity's sake, I'm going to make the pieces larger, but you could actually start with smaller pieces. What I would suggest though is don't focus on any one particular section. And what I mean by that is, oh, you might not like these two things butted up together, or you might not like some of your other papers butted up together. But we're basically doing two things. We're using scraps, but we're also making something of interest. And if you are going to be using this, like I will be, by way of just making an interesting background for something else, then you can always add to it. Now you guys know that I love my tape, my double-sided tape, but for this particular project, I think it would take too long, plus it would eat up so much tape. So you don't have to use art glitter glue, although I do recommend, if you do use glue, try to get the finest tip possible. It just makes it easier to get into the edges. I should have measured that a little bit better. Oh, that's gonna make a mess. And I'll just put that up here. Still have not gotten some wet wipes. I actually have not been to a store in weeks. But maybe I'll put it in my Target cart and pick it up from there. I hate sticky fingers, and I know I'll forget that if I didn't do something about it. So I'll put this down as well. And I find that this is normally something that's really fun to do while I'm watching either YouTube videos or even television, because it's mindless. And the way that I do it, I don't really care what it ends up looking like, because I know it's just the step one of what potentially could be quite a few steps. But if you are doing this, what you may want to do is, if you know what it's going to be used for, then pick a certain color theme. Like this one, I do want to include some blues and some browns, but you know, if you know the junk journal you're putting this in, or I think this would be a great jumping off point for a happy planner collage if you're doing that, because I sort of do that on a weekly basis in my own, then it doesn't really matter what you put down. But again, it's helpful if, not that you have a plan, but that it's something that you might end up using. Because I think the worst thing that might happen from this is you put something together that you absolutely hate and then you don't use. I mean, you do have your scraps on a page, so I guess that's a benefit, but I mean, really, we're just trying to make something that we're going to have fun with. And I struggle with these because I don't like faces. I don't want to open up my planner and have things looking at me. At least nothing that looks realistic anyway. Yeah. Let's bring some of this here. And even though it's not going the right way, I think it'll work. Although, let's do something here. Again, wanting to avoid the umbrellas. So I'll put that down. I kind of wanted to keep that, but I mean, you can't save every little piece of paper. At least I can't. I have no desire to do that. Put this down. And I find the thing with collaging or organizing or do anything like that, it does tend to look worse before it looks better. Oh, that's kind of nice too. Let's do that side, though we don't need it that big. But we also didn't need it that small. Okay, and then we just have a few spots to do. We can cut that off. So I'll put glue here because I know I want a clean edge. And then I'll put here, knowing that I will cut some of it off. And these are some book pages that I tore out. I'll actually show you in just a second. I was looking on my bookshelves and I have this one here and this one here. This I must have bought in the early 2000s. It's Emma and Jane Austen, and the pages are white. I've never read this book, but it was something that I had to have. And then this is Anne of Green Gables. It has seen better days, and it's just basically a journal. So I have cut some pages out of both of those. And then for the Emma one, I used some watercolor. Actually, I used my Crayola pens on a plastic bag, added some water, and used a foam brush and just kind of painted on. This I did in a different way, and I'm not super happy about it, but I do like how that works. I don't have any of that Tim Holtz ink, or I honestly would have used that. Just got a few more places to put down. And I don't mind so much a ton of straight edges, but I do think it's interesting when there are more jagged edges than straight. But again, as you'll see in a minute, once we cut this up, it doesn't really matter. So we've got up here, I think that looks really sweet. And then we need right there and right here. Like this one. And the reason why we're not going to use this particular piece is because I do want it to let it dry a little bit more before I cut into it. And so we'll just use the one that I showed you a little bit earlier. And we'll use this piece. And if you have tons of these little pieces like this, this would make an interesting use. It would take a little bit longer, but you definitely will get your money's worth. All right, I'm not going to be too concerned about that. That one's lifting a little bit. Okay, so let me put this away and let me show you what I would do as a next step, and then we'll get into using that one I showed you earlier. Okay, so I made this pouch and I keep my stickers in here. Most of it is what my friend Andie had sent me. Sorry, just want to put that away. And so I've got them segmented by color. I've got gold, resin pinks, browns, and I think we'll go with the purples. Because I actually like this one, and that I don't mind because it doesn't look super realistic. In fact, we could use that right there. And I kind of like the bird. And then we'll do one more thin one. That one is more horizontal than vertical, and I want something more vertical. And because they're stickers, it does make it easier, although if you had like printable images, you could collage with those as well. Now these are a bit of a beast to take up, so let me put all of these down and then I'll be right back. Okay, so those are those down. I will put this back into the happy notes. And we'll take this one out. And then what I would do is I would just continue to make collage boards, and I'll store it in here just because it's on my bookshelf next to me. And what's adding bulk to this is this right here, so I'll probably just take this out. Again, if you're interested in how I watercolored the page, it's a really simple technique and you can use either watercolors or Crayolas. And if you're interested, just let me know in the comments below. Okay, so we have this right here. That's rubbish. And so we are actually going to make some pockets for this junk journal that I've been working on. And the way that I plan to load these is this one will go up on the Friday the 19th of February. And then on the 20th, I'll do working on the signatures on there, which is going to be the Saturday video. And so I do want to make a pocket that kind of comes down like that. So if I want to keep the lady and the butterfly, I could do something like that, because I kind of want to do an L shape. And so I'll mark down here, right there. I'm going to use my cutting board. I don't know how well this will be because it'll cut through the layers. I just don't know if it'll shred any of the layers, but we shall see. So I'm going to line that up. And it seems to be fine. And then that's a strip I can still use, but I'll put that aside for now. And then I want to mark how tall I want this. And I want it to be about there. And then let's see if I can be very clever and cut a triangle. Although that does cut her face off. So let's do more of a, who even knows what this shape is? Because I want to see some of the lace, but I also want to create a pocket. Okay, so that works rather well. And I think what I'll do is I'll just put tape at the top or the side and the bottom, and then I'll leave this open so that it can hold quite a bit. And then for this one, we can use this for the back, but let's deal with that in a minute. So I'll put down my glue, making sure I get it in the right spots. So I want it on this here. And when making pockets, I definitely recommend using glue instead of double-sided tape. The double-sided tape can eventually lift up a little bit, which isn't a problem unless you're putting things actually and using it as a pocket, and then the things that you're putting inside might stick. So I want to make that reasonably straight. And again, it'll open up like that. Again, this does go down fairly quickly, and that looks good. So we've made a little pocket there, I think is adorable. Just want to make sure it adheres. Okay. And that would be the opposite, but that's not what we want. And so instead, let's see if we can use this alongside as sort of a tuck spot and keep the integrity of the flower. So we'll cut this like that. I think we'll need to cut this bottom. Well, I don't know. How does that look? I don't know that I like it. Maybe we'll just square it off a little bit instead of getting rid of the whole shape. Yeah, I don't know how I like it. Maybe we can use this part here. That one's a bit too shallow. I guess we could do something like that. That is upside down, but that's not that big of a deal. And then we can make this into a tag. Okay, so let's do that. So it's this side and the bottom. So we're going to put that down like that. And this one we'll make into a tag, which is actually really easy to do. I don't trust myself to cut a straight line, so I'm just going to use this. And then what I'll do is I'll cut like that. Turn it around so that both sides are the same. And then that makes a little tag, and because we used Happy Planner paper, there's journaling behind it that we can use. That's really cute. And I imagine with the collage board, you could actually make tons of tags. You can make tons of little journaling spots. You can do stuff like this. Now, if you know you're going to make pockets, you may just want to back it on just junk paper or white paper, things like that, because it doesn't matter that the back has places to write. But if you know you're going to turn it into tags, then I would use this. I have tons of Happy Planner paper, so that's not a big deal for me, but that might be just something to consider if you are working on your stash. And then the final thing we're going to do is just add some additional embellishments to this, because this as it is, I think looks really cute. But I do have some stickers that I've pulled out. This was sent to me by my friend Andie, and it's out of this sticker book, the Jen Hadfield Homemade Sticker Book by American Crafts. I think it's quite old, so I don't know if it's even still available. It's from 2017. But I thought some of these would actually look pretty good. Oh, and this is from a Pen and Gear sticker book. And so just add little touches. I like the silhouettes, but we won't be using them today. I actually like the idea of a tree right here. And because these are backed by white, or they're backed, they're not transparent, they actually work perfectly for something like this. And I like this one, Thankful. I think we need one more round. That just seems weird. This is kind of nice. This is transparent. Oh, one of these bees are cute. Yeah, I like that. I like the sayings too. Be sweet. That's lifting a little. And I think that looks good. Yeah, we've made some really cute functional pockets. The background, I mean, you can tell her, but everything else kind of recedes, but it does make it more interesting than if you just put something with this color. And if I do put this like that, I could put a doily behind there as well. I mean, I think it makes it look really interesting. I think we could actually use something down here. Oh, I think that's sweet. I'd love to know what you guys think. Because most of you wanted to see what we could work on with the signatures, that's why I decided to do this separately. Plus, I love the idea of doing a collage board, especially since I do have quite a bit of scraps. It just makes sense to me to try to make something beautiful that I can turn into other things. If you want to see more collage board videos, just let me know, because they're fun to do. I might just do some pre-made boards prior to, and then show you different things that can be done with them. All right, guys, well, that's it for this video. And as always, aloha.